Hey, everybody. Welcome to Breakfast All Day. We made it through another week. Matt, Christy, Alonso. We got news. We got marquees. Yes?
Not really, but we do have a special guest. Little Sabrina.
So many viewers, Matt, on a couple different YouTube videos last week were just oohing and ahhing over that sweet girl and getting all verklempt. Yes.
And then somebody said she's on her last legs, which I was a little like, I mean, she does have leg problems, but she's not on her last legs.
The legs are still there.
Right, and we have wheels just in case.
So good.
And even if she is, she's being very well taken care of. So
yeah. She's a good girl. We have lots of news for you. We have some breaking news, which is that Disneyland reopened today.
Oh, I gotta go.
I was gonna say, Matt, it's been good to see you. It's got to be cooler down there than it is where you live, right? It is 95 degrees where you live today.
It is at the moment 95 degrees. Yes, and it's supposed to hit 97. So just in case.
Let's all show our phones, you guys.
95 degrees.
It's cool where I live.
Yeah, it's a brisk 88. Or sorry, 86.
86.
Plummeted.
On the hottest.
Cooler. Hello.
Not going to fight you for that one.
Disneyland reopened, albeit with some restrictions. So you have to get reserved tickets ahead of time. And they're only open from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's both the main Disneyland and California Adventure. Mm-hmm. And they have spacing. People were there at like 4 o'clock in the morning today. My friend Alex Cohen, who is an a la carte alum, we interviewed her a year or so ago, posted video this morning of pulling up there for the first time saying, I'm not going to lie, I'm getting a little teared up here. And people were very excited to go back to Disneyland. I mean...
So all the indoor everything is still happening, the dark rides and the restaurants or whatever?
It is truly a small world after all. I don't know. I guess here's my question. I don't know. Do you have to show vaccination proof to do certain rides?
If it were Duralde World, yes, but I have a suspicion that Disneyland is not making people show that proof. So
I don't know, Matt. I know you're a big fan. Are you pumped? Will you go back anytime soon?
No, probably not to my birthday. I mean, I've been going on my birthday every year.
Right. So we'll wait.
So I'll wait. Yeah. I don't know about that guy out of Tampa. That Florida dude that was writing about how mad he was that. Oh, God. That fucking guy.
He's from Vegas, actually.
Oh, sorry. Right. He's from Vegas, but he
wrote in the Orlando
Disney
Sentinel.
World. Yes. He's very mad that they are.
They made the rides less racist and less rapey. How dare they?
Right. Right. Wokeness is ruining Disneyland. Oh, yeah, he will be taking his business elsewhere.
And this was the guy that the ACLU had to fight because apparently he's like an associate district attorney or something in like northern Las Vegas, who tried to execute some drug dealer with some kind of chemical combo that everybody's like, no, that is actually cruel and unusual and you can't do it. And they had to like take him to court to prevent him from doing so. So he's a charmer all the way around.
You know, it's funny when I saw that headline about how like Disneyland is suffering from wokeness. It read like an Onion headline at first.
Well, especially with the picture. You look at the guy and you're like, no.
He's like this
really?
doughy dude.
They got new models of the Onion.
He's like this super white, doughy dude. Anyway, so that's exciting. Also, we have breaking news on the Lady Gaga dog napping front. So they've made arrests of 5 people. Including the woman who went to the LA Police Department station with the dogs, who said, oh, I just found these random dogs tied to a pole. And what do you know? But here's what happened. Apparently, they did not realize these were Lady Gaga's Frenchies. If you'll recall, a couple months ago, Lady Gaga's dog walker, try saying that 3 times fast, was out with her 3 Frenchies walking in Hollywood. And someone pulled up and attacked him, shot him, and got away with 2 of the 3 dogs. And the third one was recovered nearby. So Lady Gaga offered a $500,000 reward for anybody who brings the dogs back, no questions asked. This woman miraculously just found these dogs tied to a pole. What are the odds?
And now questions are being asked.
But here's the deal. They didn't know those were Lady Gaga's dogs.
Honestly?
Yeah, well, no.
The dog nappers didn't know. Okay.
The dog nappers did not know that they were stealing. It's like a Coen Brothers farce, like of dumb people making stupid mistakes and trying to pull the crime off.
So they weren't after ransom; they were after the actual dogs.
They were stealing Frenchies because Frenchies are really valuable. Frenchie puppies are several $1,000s. And so they were after this valuable dog. And then oops, they happened to steal some of the most famous Frenchies on the planet. And then they tried to cash in. And it all went south. So it was the woman who brought the dogs back. It was her and her boyfriend and the boyfriend's teenage son and a couple of his friends. And so no one gets a reward.
I was going to say, did the woman who brought the dogs in the first place collect or no?
No.
Okay, well.
No, because they were suspicious of her.
Oh.
They wanted to check her story out.
Yeah, this is very burn after reading.
Hey, so Matt, we talked about the Oscars on Monday. We were sorry that you were unable to join us, but I'd love to hear what you thought about them.
Sorry, my wife is getting the dog because it's too hot.
Hello, Jen. Bye,
She
Sabrina.
says hello.
Hello. So, what were your thoughts on the Oscars?
It was fine. It was fine. I mean, weird. I know it didn't go any faster, but it felt like it was going faster because they didn't have all this the mishigas of performances and stuff and bits.
The history of the Western. Yeah.
Right.
It was shorter. I mean, they didn't have the big opening
still
monologue.
3 hours something.
It wasn't the 4 hour and 20-minute long one.
Yeah, I mean, it was fine.
It was 3 and change, which is by Oscar standards like a brisk clip.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely shit the bed about doing Best Actor last.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That was
gamble that didn't pay off.
Right. Especially because Hopkins wasn't there, they weren't going to let him do Zoom and blah. I mean,
And apparently Olivia Colman was supposed to accept on his behalf.
Apparently not true. Later on, Kyle Buchanan of the New York Times did some reportage and said that she was actually in the middle of the shoot, and so she came for her category and then skedaddled. So that actually wasn't a thing. But Hopkins's reps did offer to make him available by Zoom, and they were like, no.
Well,
that's shitty.
But yeah, because look, I get it. You don't want to look like the Golden Globes, like you were, the whole blanket no Zoom thing. I get it. But come on, Anthony Hopkins is in his 80s. I only recently learned in 2014, diagnosed with Asperger's and does not like to be around crowds.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
So there was a lot of things where you're like, you know what? For you, we'll make an exception, but they just were they were very adamant about the no Zoom thing. So that's where we wound up.
Yeah, he lives in Wales.
Yeah.
Wales is really far away, you guys.
Yeah, to go to London would have been a major,
Jesus, they couldn't send a satellite truck out to him. Okay, don't do it on Zoom. Do it via satellite uplink like they're doing everywhere else.
True. Yeah. Have the guy standing outside, in a hazmat suit holding an Oscar just in case,
It is all short-sighted. But Oscar ratings were down. They were their lowest in history. Following last year's awards, which were the previous lowest in history, only 9.8 million people watched it. That is down 58% from last year, when 23.6 million watched it. But then again, all award shows, viewership is down.
Taking a dive this year. And it turns out that 9.8 mil for the Oscars is still larger than the average numbers that ABC gets for any given episode of Grey's Anatomy or even The Bachelor. Those tend to get between 5 and 6 mil. So 9.8 is nothing to sneeze at, even if it's down from what previous Oscars were like.
It's such a weird year. I mean,
exactly.
Nothing is normal about this year. There's no giant blockbuster that everyone saw or went to see because you couldn't.
Right. I think the other thing is, we hear this every year, you hear a bunch of stuff the ratings continue to drop. And then there's also, especially the right-wing backlash that the movies don't have anything to do. Nobody cares about the movies and blah, 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 blah.
Liberal Hollywood is woke.
Right. And I think really the biggest thing that has caused problems for the ratings in the Oscars, it's a couple things. There was a point where that was pretty much the only award show, that and the Globes, right? But there weren't any other award shows at the beginning of the year. And that was the one time that America and the world would get to see all of these celebrities in one place and see something happen. Now that's this whole big slog to get there, coupled with the ubiquity of so many celebrities on social media, and we have such access to them that the fun of watching the Oscars, that rare opportunity of seeing all these folks together and unscripted or allegedly unscripted, has been long gone. And I think that's what really helped propel that show. And I think people tuning in is far less to do with the movies, so much as like, yeah, we see these folks all the time.
And to the argument about how like, oh, no one's seen these movies, it's like, you know, there was a time when the Emmys were given out for shows that aired on 3 networks, 4 if you count PBS, you know, and now you have the whole cable landscape to deal with. And so, yeah, none of the individual shows that are up for Emmys get the kind of numbers that, like, you know, The Fugitive would get, because it was, you know, there weren't that many options. And I think the same thing with movies. It used to be you had a handful of major studios putting out their films, backing their like big movies every year. And, you know, yeah, you'd have occasionally something foreign or indie-ish, whatever that looked like back in the day, you know, would get in. But now you have a lot of smaller distributors. You have a lot of, you know, indie divisions. You know, we have what's left of indie divisions of major studios. Those are almost all gone now. But, you know, they're the movies that are getting nominated aren't necessarily like, you know, the greatest show on earth or whatever, you know, the big Paramount movie or the big MGM movie or the big Columbia movie was that year. Exactly. And so it's just a changing, you know, and coupled with all of that, fewer people watch network television than used to. So it's just, you know, the Oscars are a bit of a relic of the past in terms of what it used to mean to the major studios and what it used to mean to a TV network. It doesn't mean that they don't still honor, you know, movies that deserve it. It doesn't mean that it doesn't get butts and seats for people who want to see films because the Academy says you should. But the paradigm of what gets nominated and what the show is has evolved along with everything else in entertainment.
The further splintering of pop culture consumption.
Exactly.
Other things that have happened since the Oscars, that stupid Trump statement, he's now putting out on official letterhead what he would have tweeted if he hadn't been kicked off of Twitter. He was saying, you know, that the fact that they're called the Oscars now, they should call them the Academy Awards, and they should nominate real movies, and no one's watching.
What I love is that yeah, like they haven't called them the Oscars for decades.
This is time immemorial.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about the whole thing about Trump sending his faxes around is that he's really like recreated the fax chain letter. Like, right? Like the reason fax machines had to have phone numbers at the top was so that it would keep people from spamming faxes, right? Because it would cost you money if you got unwanted faxes. And he's kind of like just brought that back. Like, oh, I don't have Twitter. I'll fax everyone.
It's a piece of my mind.
And of course, you know, like when has a former president ever weighed in on shit like this? No, never, because this is nonsense, like pop culture. Who the fuck cares? You know, like you're supposed to, anyway, you know.
Pay attention to me. I'm still here and I have thoughts on things.
It's so funny.
That's all it is. Also, there is, this is an easy one to predict, but there is going to be an English language remake of Another Round in the works. Leonardo DiCaprio's production company has the rights to it for DiCaprio to star in the Mads Mikkelsen role. And you could just predict that watching it. We might have even talked about this when we reviewed it. Like you can so easily imagine a wackier, broader, louder version of that story being made in the United States. And so,
I mean, I'll believe it when I see it. We were threatened a Tony Erdmann remake for years, remember, with Kristen Wiig and Jack Nicholson, and that never happened. So who knows?
It did not. Speaking of conservative people who are crazy and annoying, Randy Quaid now says he is seriously considering running for California governor. There is indeed going to be a recall here. The people who are opposed to Gavin Newsom being the governor have amassed enough signatures, like 1.5 million signatures, to force a recall. That's going to happen. We already talked about how Caitlyn Jenner wants to run for governor of California.
Yeah, she's announced and already putting out terrible ads.
Oh, I haven't seen the ads. What's in them?
Well, it's not an ad per se, but like just this image that's been going around where she's driving a convertible and there's a dog in the passenger side. And it's like, for one thing, if you're Caitlyn Jenner, automobiles is really not where you want to be leaning right now.
That's so dumb. Is she on PCH in Malibu?
For starters.
Jesus Christ.
And then like apparently if you go to her website, there's no listing for like policies or, you know, like platform, but there is like a place to donate and a place to buy, you know, t-shirts or whatever. So again, this is so much of this is a grift. There are politicians who I think know that they're going to be, that they have maybe a chance in hell of getting elected or something. And then there are people like this who know that there is a segment of the population that they can hit up for money by, saying the stuff that those people want to hear and walking away, like laughing all the way to the bank. And so, yeah, Jenner and Quaid are just in it to get in on that right-wing cash machine.
And also, neither of these people is Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
And I feel like that is a thing that we did one time and we saw how it turned out. And hopefully we're not going to do it again.
Look, we learn nothing in this country. And frankly, Schwarzenegger was a much better governor than Trump was president. And they came into the jobs with equally no idea what the fuck they were doing.
Right. And Schwarzenegger was better than Pete Wilson. Pete Wilson was a disaster. Like he came in after that. You
would think after Trump that people would know better than to like elect somebody who has zero experience and like nothing but a high recognizability factor. But again, we don't learn anything ever.
Yes. Anyway, this is all interesting. Also, real fast, and we'll get off of political stuff. The feds served a search warrant on Rudy Giuliani's apartment yesterday. They are seizing all of his phones and all of his email. It is really, really tough to get that kind of a search warrant on any lawyer, but particularly for the president's lawyer. And
my favorite comment on that was the Photoshop picture of feds in front of Four Seasons Total Landscaping on their Twitter account. And they said, I think they showed up at the wrong address or something like that.
We kicked him out or something like that.
I hope Maria Bakalova was part of the raid.
Oh my gosh. Right? Well, she's probably on his iCalendar or whatever day it was that they made plans for her to interview him for Make Benefit Kazakhstan. So we are about to enter the yellow tier here in LA County. The CDC has some new mask guidelines. If you are fully vaccinated, you don't need to wear a mask out in public. If you are in if you're like an outdoor concert or like a crowded boardwalk at the beach or, something like that, then you should, because not everybody is vaccinated. But like if I'm walking the dog down the street, I'm fully vaccinated. Like my stuff's kicked in. I'm firing on all cylinders at this point. And I think we all are, right? Alonso, maybe you will be soon.
As much as we ever
next Saturday. Next Saturday.
A week from Saturday. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so we could like walk down the street and not need to wear a mask.
What if I'm going to rob a bank?
You have to put the mask on when you're robbing, but when you're in the parking lot going back to the getaway car, you can take it off.
Okay.
You got a panty on your head. I read something great on Instagram today, which was basically like, if people decide that they want to keep wearing masks, what fucking business is it of yours? Sure. Maybe they have allergies. Maybe they have social anxieties. Maybe they aren't ready to give up on it yet. Let them wear a mask. It doesn't bother you.
What if I'm attending a Klan meeting?
I don't want to know about it.
You'll stick out, Matt, because you're going to have some sort of like tiki Hawaiian outfit sticking out from beneath your robes. They're going to know it's
would be a lot of tropical material, but it would look kind of cool. No.
Yeah. There you go. It would not. So anyway, I feel hopeful. I do.
No, the numbers in LA County certainly are improving in terms of like new cases and deaths. Like everything is, I hope it stays in that direction. But yes, things are looking like we might.
I will get a small mask for my new tiki mug, Godzilla.
It's really cool.
From Mondo. Mondo puts this together.
You're drinking out of the zipper up the back of his suit.
Yes, yes, I am.
Very nice. Alamo Drafthouse is reopening a bunch of its locations along these lines. Things are getting better.
Speaking of Mondo.
Yes.
Have they got rid of Tim League yet?
No, he's still there.
They own Mondo too, Matt.
I know.
But he was a really cool tiki mug, though. So
there is no ethical consumption in capitalism.
I know.
So I think the Brooklyn location might be open now. LA opens May 7th. And then a whole bunch of places all over the country, they're going to stagger them out. Alonso, per your frequent question about upgrades to the heating and air conditioning systems, they have indeed done that.
Good.
And you can pre-order your food and drink And that is a way to sort of mitigate contact, I suppose, to make it.
Nice. But you have to pre-eat the food and drink before you go in the theater.
I mean, that's the thing is like
it's brought to you in an astronaut bag.
It's a straw. They blend up your cheeseburger and fries and they give it to you as a smoothie. So that is a thing. DC Fandom, they're going to do that again online this year. It's going to be October 16th. Is that a thing that had happened in person before?
I think they might have started it during the pandemic. I could be wrong about this, but I thought the first one happened while lockdown was underway, but I could be wrong.
I don't know. Anyway, it was online last year.
I know they did one 2 years ago, I thought.
Oh, okay. Then
I believe I could be wrong. You know what? I don't know.
2 enter the fandom, but only 1 can exit.
Anyway, so that's the thing, I guess, where they'll premiere all of their depressing DC material. So we talked about Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I guess we can maybe do spoilery stuff. Everyone's watched it at this point, whatever. But there was a rumor, there was chatter out there that the reason that maybe the pacing of the whole series, but the finale in particular, all seemed a little choppy, or the purpose of the Flag Smashers seemed a little vague. There was a theory out there that it was initially intended to be like a pandemic storyline that like drove the Flag Smashers ideology and their purpose and all that. And Kari Skogland, who directed the series, did an interview with Collider, I want to say.
I think so.
And she debunked that. She said, no, that was never true. This was always, what it was. And she also said that the last shot that you see of Sam and Bucky at a party and everyone enjoying, shrimp and the sunset, that's actually the first thing they shot on the first day. And they just banked it and thought maybe we'll be able to use this at some point. And they did. Anyway, so...
did you see the other Kari Skogland quote, by the way?
What was that?
That by the end of the series, she wanted us all to like John Walker.
Do you like John Walker now?
I do not.
I mean, I guess he has his comeuppance, right? Somewhat. He's not Captain America anymore. Sam's Captain America now. Yeah,
but still, he like fucking murdered a guy in cold blood. Granted, a member of the Flag Smashers, but still, it's like I think I look at him as a loose cannon. Like, is he somebody who was already like unstable and now has super soldier serum coursing through his veins? I'm like, what else are you gonna do?
And he wasn't even like court-martialed for that. They're just like slap on the wrist, off you go.
Yeah, they let him off lightly because of his heroic record. But yikes.
What, Matt? Do you like John Walker now?
I mean, I see that there's a bit of redemption for him, because he did go too far. Although I will say, how many action movies have we seen where the hero kills somebody out of revenge? Kills some henchman because they couldn't get to the leader. Not that makes it okay.
No, and maybe I'm creating a false distinction between somebody who shoots somebody and somebody who like clangs them in the head.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, right? He did knowingly. It's like, man, you're there in that uniform. Like, that's not a good look. Like, at least do it where nobody sees it. Right? Plausible deniability. Come on. Like I kind of see the character's redemption, but I think, at best, like he's going to be, makes me think of The Tick of all things. Like, he means well, but he's an idiot. And, the difference with John Walker is like, oh yeah, he'll kill somebody. Whereas The Tick's like, he's just a big dummy.
Right.
It's funny, this week on our Marvel Mondays episode, Nick and I talk about Captain America Civil War.
On the next one?
Yeah, the one that's coming up next Monday. And one thing that he pointed out, which I had not noticed, is that there's a moment in Civil War in that big fight toward the end when Iron Man and Cap are fighting each other. And Iron Man's on top Steve's on top of Tony. And he's got the shield. And he's about to like bring it down on his head. And he stops himself. And instead, like, shoves it into the arc reactor to disable his suit. And then in episode 4 of Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he does the actual deed of beating the shit out of somebody with the shield. So
interesting.
when somebody doesn't have that moral compass, that, you know, that sense of right and wrong.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's a callback to Civil War. Britney Spears, who we of course talked about recently with this Framing Britney Spears documentary, she was granted a request to directly address the court about her conservatorship. There is a hearing in June, and she's going to go and argue her case as to why she should be in control of her finances.
I hear her opening statement is going to be, "Oops, I did it again." Sorry.
But it's Britney, bitch. Come on. It was just sitting right there. No, good for her. That's great. I would like her to have more agency in this whole crazy process.
Yes. Armie Hammer, his Aunt Casey, is going to reveal all the family secrets in a docuseries. Did you guys see? I don't know if you follow Jennifer Lopez on anything, anywhere, but she posted a picture on Instagram of when this movie Shotgun Wedding Wrap, like, was like a final shot of her in a wedding dress, looking all disheveled next to Josh Duhamel, looking all disheveled, but like they're still beautiful. And of course, it's the role that Armie Hammer was supposed to have. June 28th.
So this is his aunt, you say?
Yes, Aunt Casey she's behind a docu-series. It's going to tell, and it's probably a lot of what we
Casey
saw
from the Hammer family, right?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing she's out of the will already, so she's got nothing to lose. I don't know.
And I'm guessing it's probably a lot of the same territory that was covered in that big long Vanity Fair piece.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
How screwed up the family is. So that's coming, and that could be juicy. What else? Well, the big news, of course, I've skipped over entirely, and that is that Citizen Kane is no longer at 100% on the Tomatometer, but Paddington 2 is, which ergo, Paddington 2 is the greatest film ever made.
Yes, that's what that number means. Let's all be very clear about that. Yeah, I find this whole thing kind of hilarious because I love both movies in different ways and for different reasons. So, you know, but yeah, do we have to unpack the explanation of what the RT number means and does not mean, or are we going to give our listenership and viewership the benefit of the doubt that they understand how this?
I think they understand it, but the reason that this happened, I guess there was some old review that was unearthed.
Yes, they found one
decades ago.
Right. So Tim was going through
the 40s, I guess.
Tim was going through older reviews from I think the Chicago Tribune. It's a Chicago paper, and he was going through older reviews. I mean, one of the things is there are probably hundreds, if not thousands, of movie reviews that like only exist anymore on like microfiche.
Right.
And because they're not online, Rotten Tomatoes doesn't point to them. And those are just out there, right? And if somebody were to digitize all those and put them up, then they'd probably ultimately end up on Rotten Tomatoes and the score would change.
I don't know if this came up when you were there, but like, you know, if you're a living, working film critic, there are certain hoops you have to jump through to be like Tomatometer certified. If you are dead and your review ran decades ago, do they just sort of give you the benefit of the doubt if they dig it up that way?
No, because sometimes it's done by the outlet, right? Like an outlet. So it would be. So that paper they decided counted. Right. Then. So the idea would be that, you know, anything that got printed in the Chicago Tribune, that would apply. Right.
Gotcha.
Even if, you know, and the joke we would have around the office is like, look, the New York Times turns around and hires a 12-year-old to write reviews. Okay, it's the New York Times. We're going to put it up. Right. So the idea is that you kind of lend some of the editorial integrity, or you assume some editorial knowledge and wisdom to the larger outlets.
So if like Lights, Camera, Jackson.
I wasn't going to say
replaces Tony Scott at the New York Times, he automatically gets a verified user.
The Times reviews still go up, but it would be like, right. That's the way it would work.
He's not 12 anymore. He's like 18 at this point.
He's no.
He's like 20.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Yeah. He's got to be like a 20-year-old person.
Yeah.
At least. Anyway. And then we have a couple things more, and then we will. I think you've got a thing to show. Is that correct, Matt? Do you have something to show?
I can show. Yes, there's one. Yes,
there's one thing. There's going to be a Great Gatsby musical. Now that Great Gatsby is part of the public domain for everyone to use and abuse and enjoy as they see fit. There's going to be a Great Gatsby musical in Florence from Florence and the Machine is going to be the lyricist and composer for that. And Michael Collins died from, like astronaut Michael Collins, the guy.
Oh, right. Yes. Sorry.
The guy who was out there circling the moon.
Yes. He was 90.
Everyone else gets to set foot on the moon. Not Michael Collins. He gets to hang out and pick them up.
So, I was thinking of what's the George Clooney movie?
Michael Clayton.
Michael Clayton. That's what I was thinking. I was like, that was a real guy? Okay.
Tom Collins, the drink, has died.
Yes. Michael Collins has passed.
The wild thing about Michael Collins is when the two astronauts, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, go down to the moon. At that point, Michael Collins is the loneliest man to have ever lived, because at that point he is farther away from anywhere else and anyone else. Like he is.
Wow.
Yeah. Which is like,
I didn't even appreciate what all his job entailed until we saw that incredible Apollo 11 documentary where they like recreated the whole thing using just archival footage and audio, and I think it won the Oscar. It was an incredible film. It was definitely our LA Film Critics pick for editing.
Yes, right.
But it's an incredible film, but I didn't appreciate like what all he did until I watched how they step by step pieced that back together again. So yes, so very sad that he died at age 90.
Yes.
That's it. Matt,
all right. Yes, let me get the picture.
Oh, and real quick, Almodovar's The Human Voice is now streaming on HBO Max.
Oh,
so
cool.
If you didn't get to see it during its sort of theatrical run in places attached to Women on the Verge of a Nervous Breakdown, it is on HBO Max, and so are about 10 or so other Almodovar titles. So
did we ever review that? I don't remember.
We have not. I would love to.
Oh, we could. I thought we did. No, maybe I did on radio.
I don't know that we did.
Oh, well, I'm happy to if you would like to.
Sure.
So we only have one picture. This is the picture used at the top of the show. It's the Plaza Theater in Atlanta, and they are promoting the Atlanta Film Fest through May 2nd. There's an awards viewing party. They're showing Clean Slates and shorts and Boarding Gate and The Sleeping Negro. And this was sent in from Mike McInerney. So thank you very much for sending that in, Mike. It's in Atlanta, and you're going to go see some movies. That's a place to go.
Yeah, the Plaza Theater is a legendary Atlanta location. It's in this it's on Ponce de Leon in Midtown. It's in the same plaza as the Plaza Pharmacy, which was one of the few all-night places in Atlanta, like for years and years. And they would show these TV commercials that they must have shot in like 1963, and they would still air it like years and years later. So like in the 70s, you would see this ad about like the Plaza Pharmacy, we're open 21, and all the women had kind of beehivey hair and these just long aisles and very brightly lit. And so like when you're in high school and you're just restless and running around at 1:30 in the morning, you would go to the Plaza Pharmacy because not that many places were open. Also there used to be, maybe still is, a really good diner, the Plaza Diner also, but I don't know if that's still around. It's been a while since I've been, but yeah, good memories there. I did a book event. In fact, when my Christmas book came out, we had a screening of I want to say Elf there.
You were running around at 1:30 in the morning at the pharmacy?
When I was in high school, sure.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Didn't your parents wonder where you were at 1:30 in the morning?
If I was like spending the night at somebody else's house or whatever, like, you work these things out.
Wow, you were reckless and wild.
I was pretty boring, I assure you, but just out late sometimes.
1:30 in the morning, up to no good. All right, thanks you guys for sending in stuff to us. We are always happy to receive it.
Yes, many thanks for that. Keep them coming. Send it to us at any of our social media locations. We're at BeFast All Day on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and why not check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. Big week, new season of The Handmaid's Tale dropped the first 3 episodes. So Christy and I will be recapping those and talking about what's up in Gilead. So check that out. Those are one of many cool exclusive things we have for our Patreon subscribers. Again, patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. We'll catch you next time.